I made a change recently in my life that I genuinely think made Ozzy love me so much more. And I want to share what it is because I think it can help you be more liked too, whether you're trying to find a partner or you're just trying to have more friends or advance in your career, whatever it may be. Being liked is unfortunately really important. I say unfortunately because I don't think I'm a very likable person, but this one change that I've made has really, really helped me. So I'm going to share it with you. So before I get into what the change is, let me give you a little bit of background and then a little bit of context. So if you're new here, you may not know this about me, but I can be a very negative, kind of curmudgeon-y kind of person. I complain a lot. If you've been listening for a while, you know your girl can complain, okay? I think the height of it was 2024. Now, was that a really, really hard year for me? Yes. Again, if you're new here and you don't know the context, my dog Sam, who is actually sitting at my feet, but I'm pretty sure is out of frame. She's had health issues for so long, but in 2024, she started getting these chronic UTIs, and for whatever reason, we couldn't diagnose it as a UTI for months and months and months. So she was just having gnarly, like hard to believe level accidents. Like she was just in a constant state of peeing basically. And I was taking her out so much and I still couldn't get ahead of the accidents. And like I would wake up in the middle of the night and take her out into the streets of Manhattan. And then on top of that, my dog shit piece of fuck neighbors. I love when I just come up with new curse words, piece of fuck. I don't hate it. Really put a lot more, well, one person specifically put a lot more pressure on me. Like, I think if I just like hadn't cared, it would have been so different, but I was in constant fear that she would have an accident in the elevator or in the lobby on our way out. By the way, the cleaning lady thought that this was aesthetically pleasing, and quite frankly, we have too much going on for me to address it right now. So I'm sorry if the overwhelming number of dried flowers is distracting from what we're doing here. Anyway, so it's like actually distracting me. I was like, wait. Did I just step into Etsy? Okay, so I was constantly so stressed. I love how I'm just like complaining all over again. Anyway, I was so stressed about like getting her outside and like not getting an accident along the way. And like they weren't even complaining about her having accidents inside. They were complaining about her peeing right outside the door. I was like, do you know what? Like you are so lucky this bitch hasn't peed in the elevator, okay? I peed in the elevator 3 times that year. Anyway, this is neither here nor there. That year, I remember and my mental health was so low. I mean, I was getting no sleep. I was just running on empty. Like I didn't realize quite how depleted I was. But by the end of the year, trigger warning, I was like fully suicidal. Like that's how bad my mental health was that year. Really rough year for me. Anyway, that year, remember, I was suffering so much that I really couldn't even see outside of my pain. Like, it really felt like I logically knew that there were plenty of people around the world who probably had it a lot worse than me, but all I could see, feel, hear, understand was my own pain. Like that's all that I could see. And it really made me a nightmare to be around. And the thing is, like, I've always kind of been like that is just kind of my baseline. Anyway, fast forward to this year. So when I got back from Australia at the beginning of the year, Sam, in my opinion, had aged quite a bit during the 1 month that I was gone. Like it was kind of a shocking difference to me. And one thing that was really notably different was that she can no longer stand on the wood, let alone walk on the wood. Like she has to be on carpet. And even then she can barely stand and walk. And I mean, she used to be paralyzed and stuff. So like that concept is nothing new to me, but just the extremity with the wood was quite shocking to me. And I have hardwood floors everywhere. And, you know, there are rugs some places, but she also has a lot of accidents. So it's like not entirely appealing to put down more rugs. Anyway, So I come back, and like the first day that we're back together, I went out to run an errand. I was gone for literally 10 minutes. I'm not even joking, 10 minutes. I come back in. Wait, can I go on a little bit of a tangent? Just like a completely unrelated, but it just has to be said. I don't talk politics much, if at all. Hold on. I really want to readjust Sam. I don't like how she's laying. Can I just move you a tiny bit? Or just watch your butt on the thing? I love you. You did such a good job. You did such a good job. Thank you. Okay, I'm so sorry about that. So Exhibit A, Sam has accidents. Anyway, okay, my tangent. Okay. So I'm recording this the day before the podcast comes out. So it's the day after the Super Bowl. Now, I will say I did not watch the Super Bowl, nor did I watch Bad Bunny. Not for any reason other than I didn't want to. No. The real reason is because I wanted to get in the sauna and get into bed, and it was like past screen time, and I just like Ozzy's out of town. Like I just didn't really feel like doing anything. So if I'd gone to do something with friends or whatever, I would have watched, but I didn't. Anyway. And I will say, like, I'm not the most familiar with Bad Bunny, and I'd like to think that doesn't come from a racist place. I really am not like super up on contemporary music is the truth. Like, actually, can I say something that's kind of wild? I don't listen to that much music. And I know that's like kind of weird. Like, I know everyone's like a music girly and like a festival girly and like a concert. I'm none of those things. Okay. I used to think I was. I used to pretend I was. Like, I like followed Fish around on tour for years of my life. And now I'm like, I'd be happy never going to a concert again. That being said, I did go to see Tame Impala a few months ago and I like had so much fun. So, you know, I'm full of inconsistencies. Anyway, I'm not like super up on contemporary music. Like, I think I know some of his music obviously is like wildly popular, but I don't know like that much of his music. But I loved that he was performing at the Super Bowl because I know it pissed off a bunch of like Dahatis. It's a Farsi word for like trashy people, like kind of like rednecky trashy people, you know, like bigoted people. I'm just gonna say it. Like I love that it pissed those people off. Anyway, so Jill Zarin posts something. I was like fucking a 12 out of 10 when I saw this, where she's just like going on and on about how like that she couldn't understand any of it, which, okay, whatever. And then she goes, there were no white people up there with him. That one sentence, I can't unhear. Like, I have completely changed my stance. I fully believe in cancel culture. Like, I think she should be canceled for that. And here's the thing. Here's why it bothers me so much. It's not that she thinks it or anything like that. Like, there are racist people everywhere. It's the fact that she's so racist that she doesn't even understand that what she said is racist. That's what's fucking with my head. Because like if she knew it was racist, she wouldn't have said it publicly. You know what I mean? She would have said it to her friends, but she wouldn't have posted it because she doesn't want to get canceled. You know what I mean? No one wants to get canceled. So she would have never publicly said something that she was fully aware was racist, but she is so bigoted that she actually genuinely doesn't understand that what she said is racist. And that is one of the most shocking and disturbing things I've ever heard in my entire life. And like, it's just like, if you can't understand that it's racist to say there were no white people, like, I literally don't know how to talk to you or interact with you. Like that, like she really deserves to be canceled. Like she really does. And if she, like, I always said I'm anti-cancel culture because I feel like for a long time we were using cancel culture on people that I like. No, I'm just kidding. On situations where someone like tweeted something when they were 19 and now they're 35 and we're like, ooh, let's cancel them for that. And that I'm not into. Like, I think that's stupid. Like, it's like a weird witch hunt. Like everyone, like, do you know how much fucked up shit I've said and done in my past? all of it, I'm sure you could find. Like, I used to work for a fucking conservative think tank, okay? I worked for the organization that is responsible for the Iraq war, according to some people. Like, and a lot of mine came from a place of like, I was actually talking about this with a friend yesterday. I love how we've gone on this full fucking detour, but I think that a lot of brown people can oftentimes be more racist than white people. And I actually think it comes from this like kind of innocent and sweet place where you just want to be like, no, I'm marked safe. Like, look, I'm more like you than I am like these other people. So like I've certainly like I used to say like really anti like Islam things, really anti Middle East things. Like I you know, I like literally just trying to mark myself safe. Like my first years in America were under Bush's America, which was a highly conservative time, and people fucking hated Middle Eastern people. Like 9/11 had just happened. Like it was not a good time, you know? Anyway, I'm not trying to like justify it. I'm just saying like, I actually think that I'm a pretty progressive person, but I know I've said so many fucked up things in my past to the point where someone I'm really close with now, but someone who I know from a long, long time ago, and we like drifted as people do. We haven't lived in the same city in a really long time. But now we're really close again. So she told me somewhat recently that she's transitioning. And my first thought was, holy shit, what fucked up transphobic, homophobic things did I say back in those days? And I instantly was like, if I said anything back then, I'm so sorry. I was such an asshole. Like, I just thought it was like cool to be like different and like negative and contrarian and just like I thought it made me like less basic. Like it honestly, a lot of it came from a place of like internalized misogyny along with like internalized racism and internalized Islamophobia and you know what I mean, all those things. But it was like a way of me trying to be like, look, I'm like cool and edgy and whatever. So this is all to say, I think the reason that I was always like so anti-cancel culture is because I just think it's stupid to dig up something from someone's past and be like, ooh, let's cancel them. But I think it's very different when it's someone's present, and it's also, or if it's someone's past and they like haven't apologized for it, right? Like there's a podcast that I used to listen to and I stopped listening to it, even though, and this one girl, it's like two sisters who host it. You can kind of figure out what I'm talking about if you wanted to. And one of them was like super canceled once and came back from it, and she did apologize for what she was canceled for. But the thing is, like, she is racist. Like, I'm just going to say it. She's racist. She's bigoted in many, many ways. And I stopped listening to the podcast because I was like, no, that cancellation wasn't a historic thing. Like, they're bigoted people. Like, this is what, like, they're bigoted. They're so entrenched in their views that they can't even be ideologically consistent, which is something that I really judge people for on all sides, by the way. And we all do some level of it. Anyway. So yeah, I'm just going to come out and say it. I think we should not cancel people, but if your values don't align with someone, I think that's a really good reason to not support them if you choose to not support them. At the same time, I'm like not going to judge you for supporting them. Like if you want to go to Chick-fil-A, I get it. Like they make a good chicken sandwich. You know what I mean? But also, like, I think we should kill Joel Sarah. I'm just kidding. Violence is never the answer. Neither is, like, rage DMing, rage commenting, any of these things. Although I do think it has, like, a little bit of a benefit in that it at least makes people publicly act right, usually. Which is good. But I don't think, like, you should, like, again, like, I don't, like, if something comes out that someone did and then they learn from it and they apologize, like, let's say Jill Zarin now goes and takes, like, sensitivity training and, like, actually, like, really does the work to understand why what she said was fucked up and goes and, like, spends time, like, volunteering in minority communities and things like that, then we forgive her. We don't just, like, hold on to it forever either, right? Okay. Anyway. Okay, so coming back to the point of this podcast, which quite literally has not one thing to do with this, although I will say, as I was talking about how I used to be, I see a bit of a parallel between that and what I'm about to say. Okay, so basically I come back, things are pretty challenging with Sam, and there was this one day my mom was like, hey, like, how's Sam? Sorry, I'm laughing because I was thinking, oh, this was probably on our like 14th phone call of the day. But she's like, how's Sam? And I was like, oh, like it's challenging because this and this, but I think she's really happy. And my mom was like, no, Sam's always really happy. Like, Sam is just grateful to be here. Like, that's all that she sees. She doesn't even see the downsides. Like, she truly just lives in the present moment. Like, she's not out here like thinking about what happened in the past. She's not out here worried about the future. Now, is that because like her brain is more limited and she might not have capacity to be thinking about the past and future? That's possible, but that's neither here nor there. And then I was like, you know what? You're right. And also I'm going to add something else to this. So Sam at this point in her life, like, can't get up to go get a drink of water. Like, if she needs water, like, I bring her water bowl over to her constantly for her to lap up. And I was thinking about this. I was like, if like Sam were to be like talking to her little like dog friends, like she has a friend named TJ on her street who's like kind of blind. So like if Sam were to like hit up TJ or like be texting TJ, like I don't think Sam would ever be like, God, my life is so hard, like I can't get up to have a drink of water. I genuinely think the way that Sam thinks of it and would talk about it is she'd be like, wow, my life is so blessed. Like, I'm so lucky. I have a mother who's so attentive that she brings my water bowl over to me every time I need a drink of water. How lucky am I? I genuinely think that that's what her approach would be. And this led to me having this was a few weeks ago, where I was like, I need to stop complaining. Like, all I do is complain. What if I just challenge myself to not complain at all? This was on a Friday. So I was like, what if I just challenge myself to not complain at all this weekend? So I did this challenge for myself. Now, is it easy to execute? Absolutely not. Like, it's because you also, depending on how much you complain, it's just a part of what you do. So it's like habit. Like, you don't even realize half the time when you're doing it. But that's where presence really comes in. Like, not just doing things on autopilot, but really trying to be thoughtful and mindful and present. And if you need help with that, I really recommend checking out Atara Valentine. Anyway, that's the coach that I work with, and he has some great digital courses. Anyway, so going back to this. So I decided to challenge myself to do this. And then that weekend extended into ongoing. Now, do I think it's feasible to like literally never complain? No, sometimes you have to vent, right? And I have done that in controlled, limited situations. So there have been one time actually I had a session with Atara where I was like, I'm trying to complain less, but can I just like vent for 2 minutes and then we move on? He's like, sure. And I just unloaded everything about how challenging it was. And then we moved on from it. And I've done that a few times with friends or with my mom or something. The other thing I sometimes do is I'll set like a venting window. This is what I initially was doing. I was like, okay, instead of just like complaining about everything all the time, every day, I'll set like a venting window. So in the morning, I have 20 minutes. I set a timer. I get all my venting out on like in journaling, and then I tear it up and I move on with my day. And I've actually stopped doing it because as I've been challenging myself to do this, I've had fewer and fewer and fewer complaints to the point where I just like sit there and literally have nothing to write. And I just find myself not getting as agitated by things. But that brings me back to the thing that I've done. It isn't the no complaining specifically that I want to talk about. It's more so just this notion of just being more positive in every way. So one way is complaining less, but another is just like having a positive attitude about things, like focusing on positive things. Like, again, like going back to when I was like going on the cancel culture tangent. By the way, I'm like imminently waiting my cancellation now, but here's the thing. You can't be canceled if you've never started. So I feel like I've marked myself safe there. But like, if you wanted to, I'm sure he could find awful things. Like, I was on Fox News. Now, I don't think I like said anything awful. I was just talking about tax policy on Fox News, but still, you know what I mean? Like, it's like, there are a lot of ways that whatever. Anyway, oh, okay. So I used to think it was like kind of like ditzy and basic to be positive, and that like cool, interesting girls are more like snarky and negative. And honestly, a lot of that was because I used to watch Center Stage a lot. You know that movie? I was talking about this with a friend the other day, and she's like, oh no, you've never watched Center Stage. And I was like, that is crazy, because I fell asleep to watching Center Stage every single night for like 2 years of my life. Like every single night I'd go in my bedroom, and I had, and there were DVD players at this point, but like I didn't have one, at least not in my bedroom. Maybe like I'm sure our family had a DVD player at this point, because it wasn't like, you know, this wasn't like the 80s. Like it was more recent than that. But I had a TV that had like a VHS thing in the TV. So every single night I just push in the tape and like just play it and fall asleep to it. So, you know, Zoe, I don't know her last name, the girl who is in Avatar, she's in Center Stage. Her character is like kind of like snarky and funny. And I remember there was this line that she said early on in the movie when this one girl was like kind of rude to her, and she goes, oh, what did you go to some kind of special bitch academy or something? And I remember a friend of mine thought that line was, well, it was like more like an aunt of, it's hard to say. She's like a family friend / whatever. It doesn't matter what the relationship is. She thought that line was really funny. And I remember in my child brain, I registered like, oh, okay. So if you're like snarky like that, like people will think you're funny and interesting and like you. And the thing is like, yeah, there are times, obviously, like if you deliver a funny line, people will like you. But that's also a lot of it is like TV stuff. It's kind of like when in reality shows we watch the confessionals, like, yeah, when they're snarky and witty in those confessionals, it makes us like them. But in real life, people like people who feel good to be around. And you know what feels good to be around? People who are positive. It does not feel good to be around people who are complaining all the time. It does not feel good to be around, oh, this is one of my absolute biggest pet peeves. It's when people go from like, I want to say 0 to 100, but I don't mean like in terms of anger and stuff. It's almost like 0 to negative 100 or something. So I'll give an example. It's like if someone goes on one bad date and they're like, well, I guess I'm just like destined to be alone for the rest of my life. And it's like, what? How did we go from here to here? Like that is such an extreme jump. Like why would you have this intense, like fatalistic attitude about everything? Like that's just like annoying. Like now I have to talk you off the ledge every time something bad happens. Like that's just an annoying trait to have. Yeah, so like that's another example of it. It's just like that type of negativity. People don't want to be around negative people. Now, am I saying that you have to force yourself to be happy and upbeat 24/7? Yes, I am saying that. No, I'm just kidding. Like, again, obviously there's a time and a place for a good cry. There's a time and a place for a venting session, but those things should really be the minority of the time. And unfortunately, most of us, I would say, have made those things our personality, to the point where when I was challenging myself that initial few days to not complain, I realized that it actually felt weird to not complain, not because I wanted to complain or because I had complaints, but because I felt like it was braggy if I didn't complain. Like I felt like if someone's like, how are you? If I wasn't like, oh my God, this is hard, this is hard, this is hard, and this is hard, I felt like it would seem like I was like bragging, like, oh my God, my life is so amazing. Like I like had to share the negative things so that people like feel more comfortable, because I think complaining has become so normalized in our society that if someone's just like, I love my life. You were like, remember that lady? This was a while ago. It was like 10-15 years ago. Some lady tweeted like, oh, I love having a cup of coffee in my backyard with my husband. And the entire internet went ape shit and was like, you're such a privileged bitch. Like, I can't believe like some of us can't afford to have a backyard. Some of us can't afford to have coffee. Some of us don't have husbands. And she's like, what the fuck? Like, I just said I like to have coffee in the morning with my husband. Like, what the fuck is this? But like, that's really where we've come to as a society. There was another recent thing. I think someone tweeted or something. It was like a photo of them like having a few friends over, and again people like lost their minds. Like, we really are unwell as a society, and we're just so used to steeping in our own pain that like when someone else isn't doing it, or when someone else is just like happy or satisfied, we take it as a personal attack, which is so fucking crazy. Also, like, this is so disjointed, but another random story. So actually, this was December of 2024. So that year where I said everything was really hard and I would complain a lot. So when we were in Australia, fuck, I really hope it's okay for me to talk about this. I'm honestly not sure, but I'm going to say it anyway. So one of Ozzy's friends has a child who... she has cerebral palsy, but that's actually the lesser of her problem. She also, I don't know exactly what it is. I don't know the diagnosis, but basically she's like in a constant state of having seizures is the best way I can describe it. Like, she's completely nonverbal. Like, she needs, like, they have an entire wing of their house for all of the special equipment for her. Like, she's constantly in and out of the hospital, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, so the mother of this child, we were over at their house, like hanging out with them, and Ozzy was talking to his friend. I was talking to the wife, and the kid was there. But like I said, the kid is nonverbal. So like, I don't even know like how much she was like engaging, you know what I mean? Like, when I say like nonverbal, it's not just nonverbal. She has like exceptionally little control of her body. Like, it's a really, really, really challenging situation. And the mother of this child, let's call her Jennifer, because I don't want to keep saying mother of the child. Jennifer was just like so upbeat and so like matter of fact, and like when I'd ask questions, she'd answer them in a pretty matter of fact manner. And even when I was like, oh my God, like, this must be so hard on you. And she's like, yeah, you know, I mean, it is what it is. Like, yeah, it's challenging. And she's like, truthfully, like, the most challenging thing is like, I don't know if I'm ever going to have like a real relationship with my child, in terms of like, I don't know how much she, like, I love her so much. I don't, like, she's never going to tell me that she loves me. Like, I don't know that she, like, I don't know what she's actually experiencing. And that's what's challenging. But she's saying all this calmly, not crying, like, not like whatever. And I'm sure she cries, and I'm sure she vents to people. I'm sure all these things happen. But it was more so the general attitude that she had. And there was a moment where I thought about it, and I was like, my dog pees a lot. And I have not stopped complaining about it. Like, I cry about it constantly. I basically act like I have the hardest situation humanly conceivable, because like, my dog gets chronic UTIs and is constantly having accidents, and I have to wake up in the middle of the night and take her out. And this bitch over here, and I say bitch affectionately, has this situation that, I mean, objectively speaking, is what, like 100-fold, 1,000-fold, 1,000,000-fold harder than my situation. And her attitude about it is so fucking different. Like, there are always people who are carrying more than you, who are able to be in a better mood. Like, there is no reason why we need to walk around. And like, I'm saying this, like, I'm not saying this as someone who's mastered this. Again, like, I tend to be very curmudgeon-y and negative, and can have a lot of negative energy, and can be really defensive, and can be very complainy. And it's something that I'm working on. But I will tell you a few things I've noticed ever since I've been really mindful of this. My romantic relationship with Ozzy is the best it's ever been, hands down the best it's ever been. In fact, he said something to me. So last weekend, do you remember? I think I talked about this on last week's episode, when like Sam just got this like crazy aggressive UTI. Like it came on out of nowhere, and she was just like there was a day where I think she had 30 accidents in a day. Like it was just nonstop. It was like nothing I've ever seen before. And I remember, and Ozzy had left the night before, so I was like dealing with everything alone. And when we were on the phone, he was like, I cannot believe how much you're carrying right now, and like by talking to you, you would never know it, you would never think it, like you're just so light, so easy, so happy. And it was the highest compliment I've ever gotten, aside for I love when people tell me that I'm funny. Like that's like the best compliment I can get. But no, it truly was the most meaningful compliment to me, because I think that my baseline and how I've usually been is the exact opposite of that. So for me to have reached that point where I really like, other people could feel it. Other people have been telling me, they're like, oh my God, you seem so light. You seem so good. Like my relationships with everyone has improved. Everyone in my life, with the exception of one person who actually is so negative that she's not like fitting into my life anymore. And I feel like either she's gonna have to become more positive for us to be friends, or that friendship is just gonna fall off, because like it just doesn't work anymore. But even a lot of my like more complaining and negative friends have actually started to become more positive too, because it really is infectious. Like when you're around people who complain a lot, it just becomes a little complaining party. Like I'll give you a good example. My mom, love her so much, huge complainer, and I completely get it. Like she has things she needs to complain about. Usually when I call her, she answers the phone and immediately just like launches into a list of complaints. I'm not even joking. Since I've made this change, guess how she answers the phone now? Oh my God, hi, how are you? Like completely different energy. And it's because she's feeding off of my energy. Like all of my relationships have improved. But not only that, I'm the happiest I've ever been, which is really saying something, because like happiness is something I've really struggled with. And I feel like constantly good things are happening to me. And I don't even know if statistically more good things are happening to me, or if I'm just noticing the good things more because I'm not embroiled in this cloud of complaints. Okay, I'm going to leave you with one last thing and then I'm going to shut the fuck up. So I remember when I was in high school, my friends and I won tickets to go see A Walk to Remember, like not to age myself. If you don't know that movie, Mandy Moore was in it. I think it was actually like one of her first acting roles, because I think she started as a singer, right? That was like her first serious acting role. She did another acting thing before that, I think, where she was like some kind of mean girl in some kind of high school thing. But this one, if you haven't seen the movie, it's kind of like the predecessor to The Notebook, not in terms of it being like the plot being similar, but it's like this big love story movie, right? And the premise of the movie is Mandy Moore was like a big loser in high school. Like she was like super dorky and stuff. And then I forget how the situation comes about, but like the love interest in the movie is like really popular and stuff. And somehow they start talking. But anyway, the beginning of the movie, when it's like setting the stage, obviously they fall in love, like no spoiler, but I actually really can't, like other shit happens too. I don't remember if like someone dies or something. I don't know. I just say that because of The Notebook, which, okay, sorry if I'm spoiling movies, but if you haven't seen these movies by now, like you're never going to watch them. So who cares? So we won tickets to go. It wasn't like the premiere of the movie. It's not like we were on the red carpet or anything. We were either in middle school or very, very, very early high school, like ninth grade. But like we won tickets to see this like special edition of it. Like it was like a few days before the movie properly came out, and we got some swag or some shit. It was a really cool experience, actually. That's why I remember it so vividly. Anyway, those details don't matter for the story, but I'm sharing them anyway. So we won these tickets, right? We go see the movie. Early on into the movie, it's like we see Mandy Moore getting to school, and she's wearing some kind of like cute like cardigan, like granny kind of cardigan vibe. And the popular girls in school go, nice sweater, like very clearly mocking and condescending her. And she just turns and goes, Thank you. And like it was so sweet. And like she probably knew that they were mocking her, but she just chose to respond sincerely anyway. And literally everyone in the movie theater goes, "Aw." And it was this moment where it was like, what a sweet and positive way to respond. And also, like, nothing. See, I think in my head, I would have thought, like, ooh, I have to have like a good read or a good comeback or whatever. And like, yeah, if you're on the Housewives, totally. But in real life, nothing pisses off someone who's trying to be mean to you more than responding with kindness or like ignoring it, because it's like they weren't even successful, like they didn't even hurt your feelings. But this actually brings me to a bigger point. I think one of the best ways that you can implement being more positive, aside from just really managing your complaining, is assuming everyone has the best possible intentions no matter what. The other day, I got really annoyed about a DM from someone I know, also not even just like a person. A person. Apparently, people I know aren't people. No, I mean like someone who I know from IRL. And I was like, oh God, she's so annoying. And I was complaining about it with a mutual friend. I was like, ugh, she's so annoying. And then as I was saying it, I was like, what if she doesn't mean it in like the negative way that I'm saying it? Like, what if she just meant it in like the most innocent way possible? And I'm just interpreting it in this way. And I think it's really easy to do that on social media. But I think more broadly speaking, all of us could just constantly lead with assuming people have the best intentions. Because what's the worst case scenario? Like, let's say you're wrong. Okay, then what? What, you like look stupid? Is that like what you're afraid of? Because that's what I would be afraid of. Like, oh no, I'm gonna look stupid. Who cares? Let them think you're stupid. Like, if you really think they're so badly intentioned that they're doing this awful thing to you, then who cares if they think you're stupid? And at best, like, that actually wasn't their intention. Like, do you know how many times I've nearly burned down bridges with people because I assumed some kind of intent into what they said, but then I checked myself and just assumed the best intentions. And regardless of what their intentions were, when I assumed the best intention, the whole situation shifted. So, okay, I'm going to leave you with that. I thought this would be an appropriate like Valentine's Day themed episode because this, I really do think just like being more pleasant to be around is the key. You know, my friend and I were talking about someone the other day, and she's like, yeah, like she keeps complaining that like the company won't promote her. I was like, yeah, the company won't promote her because they don't like her, because no one likes her. No one wants to work with her because she's so fucking annoying. Because I actually don't know this person, but I've heard stories, and I'm like, all she does is complain. She constantly thinks like the world is conspiring to get her. She thinks she's like the biggest victim in the world. And like, yeah, all these awful things have happened to her, but I'm sure plenty of good things have happened to her too. And she just doesn't even see it, right? Going back to like Ozzy's friend, like this woman is able to be so happy and in such a good mood, and she is in one of like the worst life scenarios I can possibly think of, and she's able to do that. There's no excuse for the rest of us. So yeah, just a little homework assignment. Check your complaining, assume everyone has the best intentions, and just try to be more positive. It's not lame, it's not losery, it's not ditzy, it's not girly, it's pleasant. It will make you be more liked. Okay, bye. Oh, check out Thursday's Blush Kitchen. It's my favorite episode I've recorded to date. Okay, bye. Okay.